Hello, welcome to From Dial Square to Where. We should hopefully have Chappers joining us very shortly. He's got his usual technical issues, unfortunately, but he's worth the wait, as we all know. But yeah, unfortunately, changed to the previously advertised show. Graham Rix is unfortunately unwell today, so get well soon, Graham. I'm sure I'll speak for everyone when we say that, and he'll be back on again in a week or two. But really happy to have Richard with us again tonight from the Over and Over and Over Again channel. How are you, Richard?
Yeah, not too bad at all. A little bit, disappointed that we can't see obviously
course.
Richie tonight, but I'm sure he'll be, like you said, he'll be back soon. But yeah, no, I'm good. Looking forward to a good chat about Arsenal as always.
Very much so, and thanks for that little musical interlude there, Melvin. I think it.
So
And that's I might as well use that as the introduction. How are you, Melvin?
All right, thank you. A bit stressed about that going off. No, I'm fine, thanks. Fine.
Oh, good.
Great
to see you.
Being here.
I know, it is a shame.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Well, lots of stuff that we can get our teeth into, as always. Never a dull day, really, with Arsenal. And we'll just have a quick recap, really, on the last couple of games. I know everyone's been done them to death, but it's been a great week, really. Two must-win games, and it shows a lot of character that from the players and the manager that will come through it again. And he's brought the team round to get two very positive results with two very different teams. Two wins from those must-win games, so you really can't complain about that. I mean, Benfica one was a bit flying by the seat of your pants, but again, over the two legs, I think we gave them all three goals. I still don't think that, they actually fashioned a chance, did they, really, Richard, over those two legs? So we did fully deserve to win, despite the shortfallings a little bit.
No, we did fully deserve to win. I mean, we were the better side in both games. But like you said, they didn't really offer a lot of an attacking threat, but yet they still scored 3 goals, which was a little bit worrying because we gifted them, all of them really, didn't we? Really poor defending, I suppose. But we did, like you said, we scraped by that one. I was, when we went 2-1 down in that second leg, I honestly couldn't see a way back for us. So I was really, really impressed with the spirit that we showed, actually, because, I was saying, just a few days before that, we don't score late goals. We very rarely come back from behind. These have been traits commonly since Arteta's been at the club. So I was really concerned when we was behind. But, fair play to the team. They dug in and came back. Yes, we left it late, but we got there. And I suppose that's when you're in a cup competition, it doesn't matter how you play. What matters is the result and going through. And I don't care if we play terrible against Olympiacos in both games. If we get through, then that's all that matters, and we move on. And that's what the important thing is. Yes, we were the better team in them 2 games, but we came within 2 minutes of being knocked out. So it doesn't matter if you're the better team in the cup, does it? It matters about
absolutely
going through. Luckily, we dug deep and managed to, against the odds, maybe in a way, in that last 25 minutes of that game, we did manage to turn it around and get through, and it was great. And let's hope that. Certainly, the response again on Sunday, kind of maybe that Benfica game has been a real turning point for the season, maybe, because that was a sort of thing that we'd been lacking. I think usually we've gone behind and we've not even mounted a comeback, let alone look like coming back into a game. And we did that, and then maybe that's been a turning point, and maybe we've turned a corner a little bit. Let's see. I mean, it's still early days from that point, but we've got a lot of big games coming up. We're going to need that spirit, and we're going to need that that determination and that sort of passion to win a game, which has been lacking too many times. But the last couple of games have been a massive change in that now. And I say, let's hope that the pennies now drop with some of these players, and we can push on from here and have a good end to the season. And maybe things might not look quite so bad when it comes to May, hopefully, but we'll see. So there's still a long way to go yet, but yeah.
I think that, Melvin, is what I was most happy about, was showing the resolve to come back, because we haven't done that so often lately. And to do it, like Richard said, with an 87th minute winner, which was a lovely goal again, showing the absolute class of Bukayo Saka. I mean, where do we start with that kid? But, I mean, the actual fact that we came back was, so late and showed that character was what I was most happy with. I don't know about you.
Definitely. I mean, like Richard, like we all agree. I mean, what's happened to the last 10 minutes of a game when we put a team under pressure? I mean, we've let in goals in the first minute and done nothing for the other 89. You know, I remember years, like going to the Emirates, going to Highbury, you're 1-0 down, you think you've got a great chance still to get something back because you know the last 5 or 10 minutes, we're going to throw the kitchen sink at them. Even if we're not playing particularly well, we're going to, you know, throw on a come in, and if you can jostle about, we might nick something or a corner. But like I say, since under Arteta, that hasn't happened. And that's turned the corner. But what I was happy about as well, just leading on to the game on Sunday, was the Leicester game, was that for once, we've actually looked like we've got a squad, because he changed the team and they did all right. Normally, when we play a weakened team, we really do look like a weakened team. Where against Leicester, we didn't look like we had a weakened team. We looked like we had 7 or 6 different players that were still up to that standard. You know, we didn't have Saka playing, we didn't have a couple of others playing. And it shocked me, because I said before, a few weeks ago, we've got our first 12 or 13 players and the rest are B team players. And yet it didn't seem to work. It worked for us well on against Leicester. And I was so happy to think, right, we're not under pressure now. We can actually make a few changes and get through it. So that really made me happy. Yeah, very happy.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more. I mean, Richard, what you have to say as well, I mean, what I said about Saka just a minute ago, and we'll come on to Saka a bit later, but I mean, Kieran Tierney, as the Weldy podcast has just put a comment in. Thanks for ever so much for watching. He says, someone like Tierney does help with showing passion and desire. Love to see him captain one day. And, well, again, couldn't agree more. Tierney was just incredible. That goal was, I've heard it said on other podcasts, but I couldn't describe it better myself. It was an angry goal, wasn't it? When the way he took that strike against Benfica, it was literally like, you know, just fuck this. Yeah, I'm not going out like this, and just took it upon himself. And it's not the first time he's done it. I mean, it was a very angry goal against West Brom not long ago in the snow, wasn't it, as well? We just lashed it. But I honestly, I mean, apart from Tierney, I thought that we, like Melvin said, against Leicester, I didn't. There were some decisions, right, that I found really odd, because the fact that Willian played to start off with, I wasn't happy about him being named to the starting lineup over Martinelli. But also the fact that he was on the left and Pepe was on the right was odd to me, because he's a right winger, Willian, and Pepe's been doing brilliantly on the left. So I thought, what's that all about as well? But at the end of the day, it certainly paid off, didn't it? I mean, it was. I think everyone showed that little bit of extra determination against Leicester.
We did. I mean, the performance against Leicester for me was, I mean, I said it in my my review video the other day, that I think that was our best Premier League performance of the season, actually. In fact, it's one of the best since Arteta's been in charge. You know, going back to the very first couple of games when we were good under Arteta. But for me, that's one of the best performances that we've produced in the Premier League. Yes, Leicester have got injury problems. They wasn't at their best. But we played really well in that game, apart from the first 5 or 10 minutes. And yeah, certain players who maybe have been criticised a lot, Pepe, Willian, as you mentioned, stepped up and produced match-winning performances. Those two did, you know, and El Neni and Xhaka in midfield has never worked really previously, and it worked in that game to a degree. We kind of was on top of midfield in that game, which I was surprised about again. So I like being surprised when it's that way round. When you're not, I mean, when I saw the team, I was like, this is asking for trouble against a team like Leicester, but it worked. So, you know, fair play to Arteta for picking that team and performing like they did, but also for the players for stepping up, because there's a few players that I was shaking my head at thinking, what on earth is going on? But they all stepped up. I mean, Willian and Pepe, that's both of them two both had their best games for Arsenal in the same game. And that was why we won that game, I think, because those two really stepped up and produced. They've got to do it consistently now, haven't they? It's no good just doing it once in a while. Pepe's been getting a lot more consistent in his recent performances, which is good. Willian's now got to do that as well. That was a Chelsea performance from Willian, and we've not seen that before. But now we need to see another 5, 6, 7 of those in the next few games, you know, because he's probably going to get picked a lot more now, isn't he? That's the only downside to it, I suppose. He played well, so he's going to stay in the team. But if he does stay in the team, he's got to produce those sort of performances again and again and again, and keep that level up now, because that he set the standard for that now. He did it against Fulham first game, and we thought, wow, not done it since. So now he's done it again. He's got to reproduce that now on Saturday in the Europa League. Every time he plays, he's got to at least show that same desire and that same determination. And that's the main thing, isn't it? Not everybody's going to play well every game, but doesn't matter. If they give 100% and they try, they give everything they've got, they leave it all on the pitch, you can't really have any complaints. And Willian did that on Sunday, and that's the first time we've done it this season, and I've got no complaints with that. I want to see that from everyone. So,
Absolutely.
and Pepe gave everything in that game, left everything out there. A lot of them did, most of them did actually. And that's all we want to see. We know where we are. We're not going to win the league with this squad. We're not going to finish in the top 4. But all we want to see is just the players giving 100% when they're out there, and we will win a lot of games. And then you never know where we might end up. But that's all you want to see. And that for me on Sunday was great to see that actually, because we haven't seen enough of it over the last year or so. And it was really refreshing. But it needs to be. It shouldn't be a one-off now. It needs to be not every game, obviously. You're not going to play like it every week, but it needs to be consistent now. We need to be doing this on a regular basis, and then we're going to not be far away, are we, from where we want to be?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's like the Worldy podcast. I'll come to you actually on this one, Melvin, as well as put another comment in there saying it's really hard to pick the team for the game against Burnley. Do you play Willian, Saka, Pepe, Alba, etc.? I mean, after that performance, it's going to be a bit of a difficult one to choose. But I think after a 6-day gap, you've got to play your strongest 11, haven't you? And you've got to go back to Saka. You can't obviously, unfortunately, use ESR because he's injured, but only for the one game, thankfully.
That's great news. That's good news.
Like very good news. So we've got Odegaard to come and step in, who I'm really impressed with, actually. So yeah, it's a difficult one, but I think the character shown, like you touched on, and Richard's obviously touched on, was really, really impressive for me. And do you think? I know that when all this good form started off, it was. I think it was just before Christmas, wasn't it? Or was it just after that Chelsea game? The first one. It was, yeah, Boxing Day. So it's funny though, because it's no coincidence really that during that sort of January window, all of the what you call bad eggs left the club, and we're starting to see a difference in the determination and the character of the players that are now left at London Colney, aren't we? I don't think there's a sort of a coincidence there.
Probably not. No, probably not. When it comes to first of all, Willian, I think I've heard rumours that he had a Chelsea shirt underneath the Arsenal shirt. That's why he played so well the other day. Long may that last.
Anyway, he's got his Chelsea.
Can I just very, very quickly just jump in there? And did you hear Martin Keown's comment about Willian? He said he was so desperate to not leave Chelsea, really wanted to stay at Chelsea, that he's for the first part of his Arsenal career, he's been in mourning.
What?
And he said that's not unusual. Did you hear him say that in commentary? I did.
No, I didn't hear that. No.
You've got to listen to it back. He actually said he was in mourning because he was that upset about having to leave Chelsea.
Do me a favour. He had an offer for Chelsea. If he was that upset, he would have signed a 2-year deal instead of a 3-year deal.
Totally agree.
Rubbish, that, all right?
Totally agree. Anyway, I jumped in. Sorry, I jumped in there. So carry on.
No, what was nice about Willian, he actually, I'm not a man for stats, so I never count things or look them up seriously. I just think you might, look at things and try and remember them. But for the first time, I think he actually went past people with the ball. I don't think I've ever seen him do that. Someone will put me down and go, no, he's done it. I cannot remember him getting the ball and actually going past someone. He's tried a couple of passes, mostly sideways or back, but he's never, in my opinion, in an Arsenal shirt, gone past someone. And he did that a couple of times. And that's showing confidence. And also, he showed a little bit of speed, which I was very worried about. When he's passing the ball all the time, and you're thinking, he's obviously doing that because to compensate, he's lost a little bit and he realises it. But for him to get the confidence to actually go past players shows A, he's got the confidence, and B, he's got the speed. So, and also, when that team came out, Richard, like you, and probably you, Andrew, I'm going, why? But I tell you something, I was so happy to be wrong. I was totally wrong. And I was so happy. I want to be wrong like that every time. If you know what I mean? Because it was, I don't want to be proved right and we get beat. No, I want us to win. And to see us have a performance like that and think, see, Melvin, perhaps you don't know everything. Well, I never thought I did. But, just
come on, Melvin, have a bit of confidence.
Yeah,
have a bit of confidence in yourself. Of course you do.
I'll put my Arsenal shirt on. No. to actually see, and also not only gives, what's so good about it as well, you're getting a little bit of confidence now more in the manager. From thinking this, what's he doing that for? You get negative vibes. Whether you love or whatever Arteta, you're thinking, oh, I don't know, but I can't actually get on his page at the moment. But after that performance and result, you're thinking perhaps he does know more than we think he knows. And there's reasons why he's done other things before. So as Richard said, let's see how we go. This might be the start. And if it is, we'll all be very happy.
I'm feeling more and more confident about Arteta, the way that he's overcoming these real issues that we've had, the slump in form, the fact that he's been able to raise the team up for these 2 must-win games. Because let's face it, if we lost these last 2 games, our season is over already. So the way he gets us up and changes the form when he needs to, I've had more confidence in him since then as well. But I just want to move on to this one other. We'll get this just sort of quickly talked about. The Worldy podcast. We're going to come back to your question, Shane, about well, it's not really a question, but the comment about Cedric has been helping Pepe improve as well, working with him. I think that's a very, very good point. But the Worldy podcast has brought up the big news this week, which was Arteta being the number 1 target for the Barca job. I don't think that that's the case personally. I think it's he's on a list, but this is my just quick 2-penner, and I'll go to you on it, Rich. But if he was going to take that Barca job now, I honestly think that he would need to be locked up in some kind of mental asylum. The state of that club at the moment, and he will be the manager that has to take on Barcelona without Messi. There's no way Messi will be staying there after this summer. I honestly can't see it. The fact that they owe over £1 billion, and it'll be the chalice of death. £1 billion quid, yeah. And they'll be bankrupt if it wasn't for the fact that they're basically the government over there is completely going to be stopping them from going bankrupt. But we'll gloss over that situation. But that'll be the biggest poison chalice of all time. No doubt he'll be their manager at some point in the future, but now no chance whatsoever, in my opinion. I don't know what you think about that.
I mean, at the moment, all we've got to remember is there's elections at Barcelona going on, isn't there, behind the scenes? And whenever there's elections, it's like any election, isn't it? Whoever wants to get voted just pushes themselves up. This is what I'm going to do. This is what I'm going to do. But most of the time, it's just waffle. So, first of all, I don't necessarily believe that Arteta's in the running. But then on the other side of that, he could be. He's a Barcelona boy. He came through their system, didn't he? So, him actually getting the opportunity to manage the club, whatever the state they're in, I think he would be definitely tempted. Whether it's now or later on, we don't know. But do those opportunities come along very often? If he was offered it now, or say at the end of the season, as a Barcelona boy, he's going to be tempted. I don't think there's any question about that. And also, let's face it, as you said there, they've got money issues. So they would Barcelona probably looking at it thinking, well, he's a cheap option. He was a cheap option for Arsenal. He'd be a cheap option for us. He's a decent coach. He knows the area. So I don't think it's going to happen because I don't think it's actually a real rumour. But if it was, I can see the temptation for Arteta, and I can see the temptation for Barcelona in the situation that they're in as well. So I don't know. We'll have to see about that. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see if he gets the offer, won't it, in the summer, and see what he wants to do. If that doesn't happen, I don't think it will. But let's see.
No, I don't know whether you listened to or watched the Charles Watts YouTube channel at all, but he put out a video today about that situation, and he's got a couple of contacts, very good contacts in his words, especially one that is his colleague for a goal as well, who is a Spanish football specialist, and basically poo-pooed the whole thing. And I'll just urge you to go, and everyone watching and listening, just to watch that video, basically. And I think it will just put your mind at rest that he's probably part of a long list, but he's definitely not going to be the first choice. That's for sure. But I personally think that it'd be the wrong time for him to go in there, because there's no way that they'll be able to spend the money that they used to. Football with Brownie, hi, thanks for watching, Gore. And he's put
will he ever get the chance again? That's what I mean. If he doesn't
Oh,
take
of
it
course
now,
he
if
would.
he's not
He's only going to get better and better, in my opinion. But true.
That's the
But I would
point.
think he's only going to become a better and better manager.
Oh yeah, he
That's
will
the-
become better, of course.
But that's the point. I don't think Barcelona will want him because he's not a proven manager. They're in a situation they cannot afford to wait 3 or 4 years till Arteta
No.
gets to where they want him to be. They can't take on a rookie manager, Barcelona. They can't afford it. They want success now. So I doubt that very much. Going
No,
forward,
exactly.
yeah, but at the moment, I think that's a no-go. I think it's painful.
Football with Brownies put absolutely incorrect because the Spanish government back Real and hate Barcelona. It's not the Spanish government; it's the Catalans.
Yeah, the
It's the
Basques.
Catalonia that I was on about. Football with Brownie. They're the ones that help Barcelona, and they will not let them go bankrupt. To put it that way. He lives in Spain. But it's the Catalonia who want independence from the rest of Spain. Correct? Yeah, it's that part.
They want independence. They got Nicola Sturgeon.
The Catalan regional government are broke, and that's probably because of Barcelona. Anyway, so yeah, anyway, I just wanted to touch on that. Really, there's not much more to go on. It's purely a rumor, and well, personally, I hope that he doesn't go because I think we've got big things ahead with him over the next 2 or 3 seasons. Fingers crossed. Anyway, but moving forward, and we touched on it earlier, and I'll just go to you on it, Melvin, again, so just a bit more detail about the Burnley game coming up. Now, obviously, there's a few players that really played themselves back into contention against Leicester, and we've had a decent break between matches for once, 6 days, I believe. So, what would your thoughts be? Because personally, I think that he'll go back to what he classes the first choice 11 with this one, bringing people back, obviously like Saka, obviously Shane back ESR, like I said. But what would your thoughts be on that? If you were Mikel Arteta, who you'd pick for the match? Because obviously we've got the right back issue as well, Bellerin versus Cedric as well.
Well, as far as I'm concerned, I'll keep the back four. I thought Mari doesn't deserve to get dropped, or he's not rested because he's only played one game. But he's put in a decent performance every time he puts the shirt on for us. He's a bit of height there, and he calms things down. He's got a very good football brain. And I'd definitely keep him in. Obviously, Tierney. I'd obviously keep Cedric at right back and David Luiz. I think you can't change that. And I don't like this situation where I can understand sometimes changing the midfield or forwards because they're on the go the whole time. They use up so much energy compared to a defender. Defenders, I think, you can afford to play the same defenders longer than the rest of the team. And you want the defenders to get to know each other. I mean, how many times under Graham did have the same defence every single week? And they were basically one unit, and that's what we want. So I'd keep the same defence. The midfield, Xhaka will have to be in it because he did play well. As you know, I'm not a fan, but he did play well. Yeah. And with him against Burnley, out of the two. I mean, Partey. I'd love to have Partey. He had a bit of a cameo again, but he's class, the guy. Let him start. See how long he goes. He must know his body by now whether he's good enough to play 90 minutes. Give it. Start with him up front. It's nice to have a problem, isn't there? Who you want to play?
Oh, definitely.
The front four, if you like, Saka has got to be in it. Aubameyang's got to be in it. I'm ashamed about Lacazette because he did play very well. So what do you do with Lacazette? I suppose Aubameyang's got to play, I suppose. And then you have Odegaard, and who else? One more. Could you play
Pepe? You've got Pepe.
You've got to play Pepe. I mean, don't keep chopping and changing. Play Pepe, and if it's not work, then you bring Lacazette off and you move Aubameyang wide. If Pepe, after 10 minutes, if Pepe's going to have one of those games on. So if it's not working out after half an hour or half time, then you can make that switch. But that's the team I would go for anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. I would probably have Pepe just drop in for Smith Rowe, who was been playing on the left, hasn't he? So I think it would be a straight swap personally, and then Odegaard number 10, Saka on the right, Aubameyang through the middle, and I think I do feel sorry. I honestly do feel sorry for Lacazette, but at the end of the day, you've got to think about what's good for Arsenal at the moment. And I think what's more important than anything is getting a tune out of Aubameyang consistently through the middle, because Lacazette's going to be off in the summer, and the sooner we can get Aubameyang properly used to playing through the middle, the better, as far as I'm concerned.
Do you think it's strange though how Eddie hasn't been even talked about the last 4 or 5 weeks? He was the go-to centre forward a few weeks ago, if you remember, and now he's forgotten he's in the squad. There's
a good article on the Arseblog website about that. I think it was today or yesterday, and from Andrew Allen. I'd have a read of that because it's quite interesting, and it's Mikel Arteta talking about Nketiah, and basically he feels guilty. He feels sorry that he's not being able to include him, but we've got a fit squad, touch wood, for the first time in ages, with some good options up front, and we can't afford to be messing about. And I think he should have gone out on loan, 100%. He needs first-team football now more than ever, and that's a mistake. And I think Mikel Arteta is honest enough to say that he feels guilty about that, and he basically made a mistake. So yeah, it is odd, but I suppose what can you do when we've got everyone's fit up front? It's an unusual situation, isn't it? Really. But personally, I do think we need to start moving away from Lacazette, however hard it's a shame for him because he's been playing really well this year. I just think we need to start making that break because the sooner we do it, the better, really. We've got all the money and the time invested in Aubameyang, and he needs to be the guy down the middle, because the longer you persevere with him on the left, as his age is progressing, I think it'd be the worse for the team long term. You can't have him bombing up and down the left wing, helping out the left back. At his age, when he's getting on a bit more, he needs to be, his legs need to have less work during the game.
Especially with Odegaard behind him, pushing those balls through.
Oh, yeah, without doubt.
That's why you've got to play him in the middle.
Without doubt, yeah. Why. He is very, very similar to Mesut Ozil, I think, isn't he? In his style of play, Odegaard. What's your thoughts, Richard, on the Burnley match? What would you do? And what do you think he will do?
I mean, it's quite interesting because obviously we've got the Europa League next week, haven't we? The first leg of the Olympiacos game, and then we've got the North London derby, and then the second leg of Olympiacos. So we've got a lot of big games coming up, and I do think he's going to maybe rotate a little bit in this game, probably not too much, but obviously the two teams that you've picked, neither of them, you haven't got Willian in it, and he was man of the match last week, probably.
Oh yeah.
Well, this is it.
Arteta was picking him when he was playing terrible. So is he going to leave him out now he's played well? I don't think he will. I actually think he might rest Saka again. I think he might leave Saka out and put Willian on, or maybe Pepe on the right and Willian on the left again. I think he might stick with that because maybe give them another game. I think obviously Odegaard's going to come in for Smith Rowe. I think Aubameyang will start through the middle because he is our number one striker. And although he's had a poor season, he is still our number one striker. He has scored 5 in his last 4 games. So you've got to, play him, I suppose. And I think Partey will come in midfield, actually, instead of El Neni. I think he needs the minutes. He needs a start. So I'll bring him in. And I thought the back four that started on Sunday is our best back four anyway. We've not played it yet this season, but I actually think it's our best back four. Cedric's our best right back. Obviously, Tierney's our best left back, the only left back. And I think Luiz and Mari are actually the best central defensive partnership that we've got. I think Gabriel's gone off the boil, whether it's because he's still young and still learning and he's maybe, struggling in the second half of the season. And Holding switches off. He's got concentration issues. So I think David Luiz and Mari are probably our best partnership, actually. I think they complement each other well. I think they've generally played well in the games they played together. And yes, okay, we let in that soft goal against Leicester, but Mari recovered from that and was solid the rest of the game. And he has played well. And obviously, Leno being goal. So that would be the team I personally think he might go with. I mean, it's difficult, isn't it, leaving out Saka, who's been absolutely brilliant. It's but what do you do now? Because you can't play Saka, Willian and Pepe. There's only 2 positions in the team up for grabs from those 3 players. And Willian and Pepe just played really well. And do you leave one of them out when their confidence has been shot before? Yeah. Whereas Saka, you could probably leave Saka out again, have him on the bench, and then it's not going to affect his confidence maybe for the Olympiacos game where he probably will start. So I maybe sensibly thinking that might be the way to go with it, perhaps.
Yeah,
but
it's really interesting.
it's a tough decision for Arteta to make, but he'll know better who's training well and who maybe needs rest and who doesn't. But I think you've got to go with Willian and Pepe while they're playing well and they've got their confidence up. Keep them playing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's a real tough decision, honestly.
Yeah, it is.
It's going to be very interesting to see what he does.
Yeah.
With the Saka situation, I think you're right. And I think another reason why we shouldn't play him, because teams like Burnley, not to put a fine point in it, will kick shit out of him.
Yeah.
Right? And I'd rather he doesn't play against him like to start with. Like if he comes on with 20 minutes to go, they ain't going to bother because it's like they're knackered and we just get on with it. But to start of the game, the left back will probably want to show who's boss. And he gets a lot of stick without any protection from the refs and our own players. And it was nice to see us going around a referee the other day for the first time.
Yeah,
we should do that more when Saka gets upended. We all I don't mind getting fouled, but he gets the nasty ones as well. And I think we would like have a little go at the ref as well. Go around. What's going on? Just to plant it in the referee's mind.
Well, Pepe, to be fair to the lad, he just gets up, doesn't he? He gets on with it. He never rolls around and screams and shouts and everything. He's a real tough cookie, and he's not a cheat, is he? He just.
No.
I think if he was a bit more like that, he'd get a bit more. I don't know what. It's just sometimes it doesn't pay to be an honest player, does it?
That's the problem.
But Football with Brownies basically saying about. But the Catalan regional government broke. It's because the Spanish government have withdrawn Spanish companies like banks, car manufacturers, etc. out of Catalonia because the nationalists have been kicking off, and Spanish banking headquarters like Blanco Sabadell, etc. are in Catalonia, but they're no more. So, I mean, it's going to be really interesting to keep your eye on that Barcelona situation, because if they do struggle with getting any sort of extra input, it's going to be really interesting to see what happens there, because they're in so much trouble. So much trouble.
You think it seemed like Barcelona
lose Messi?
I mean, what's their ground hold? 80,000, is it, or something? The ground there?
Yeah.
The success they've had, what they've done, they're like, to a degree, they've spent so badly over the last 5 or 10 years. Because, a lot of their players used to come through the youth team, didn't they? You think of the great team, all the great players that have come through the youth team. All of a sudden, they're paying like 100 million for this geezer, 100 million for that geezer. Who's the one, the French guy up front they bought?
Dembele.
No, the little guy. As a hairband.
Yeah, I know. What's his name? Gone out of my head.
He could play for a German team.
No, he came from Atletico Madrid.
Atletico Madrid, sorry, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, yes.
A stupid amount of money for him. I think it was over 100, actually. And he's like, just, okay, never done it. And they had a lot of mistakes like that. So, even to be £1 billion in debt, where's it all gone? They haven't spent £1 billion on players. I don't get it. Sorry, I don't get it.
No, I don't either. They're really paying for. I mean, they've made transfers years ago that they still haven't made payments on to the clubs that they bought the players from.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely. I've listened to an awful lot of Spanish podcasts and read a lot of articles about it, and there's a lot of trouble there. Real trouble. And obviously, all the arrests happened this week. I mean, just keep your eye on it. Something's going to happen there.
Something smells there, doesn't it? Something does
very
smell.
Much so. Very much so. Now, I'm going to come on to a question shortly about. That's it. Thank you, Shane. Antoine Griezmann.
That's it.
I'm going to come on to the question you put in there, the Worldy podcast. Where do you think we need to strengthen in the summer? But I think first off, just going to touch on the draw in the Europa League. We've obviously mentioned it before, the Olympiacos tie, and it's no surprise that we've drawn them after what happened last season. But I think if we've learnt anything about that being knocked out, is that we should never have been knocked out last season. We are much better than them, and we've just got to make sure we do the job professionally and properly this year. I think it's a fairly good draw, actually, personally. I don't know what you think, guys. I mean, Melvin, go to you first. What do you think about the draw, Olympiacos, when you first heard that we'd drawn them?
Your first reaction is, oh, bloody hell, them again. But when you think about it, if we can't beat teams like that, we don't deserve to go through to the next round. We're a bigger club than them. We're a better football team than them. And really, we got beat because of a very bad goalkeeping decision. Apart from that, we had and also we had a bad miss by Aubameyang. But it looked like we were going through without that last minute goal that we should never have given away. That was just, it was, these goalkeepers now, they're not footballers, they're goalkeepers. Do not tell me a goalkeeper's a footballer. And when they try it, the risk reward, in my opinion, is not worth it. You might look good, you make the centre forward turn the wrong way and flick it round in. Yeah, all right, you don't get any goals for that, but you're letting goals when you make mistakes and try and do it. Yeah. And I think too many goalkeepers, especially in the Premier, are trying to be footballers. You've got one or two, the Man City and the Liverpool guy, they've come unstuck, right? They've come unstuck. You don't really want that. And so it was basically, I think it's a very, very good draw. Excellent draw.
Yeah, I do as well. And whilst you were talking, Lee Judges has popped up. How are you, Lee? You right?
Good evening, guys.
Good
Sorry,
evening.
I'm late. I didn't even know there was a link. You put a message here, and I didn't have a look on Twitter and all that, and then I just see it, and so I thought, oh, blimey, like that, mate. So
no problem at all, mate.
I thought I'd jump on
there
a little bit.
It's a shame that we haven't got Graham on with this today. Going to be coming on again very in the next couple of weeks, hopefully. But he's ill at the moment in bed, so our best goes out to him.
Yeah.
And it's a shame that he hasn't been able to join us. But just to quickly, I'll come to you in a second, Lee. But couple more comments in saying that none of the 1.1 billion pounds, euros, I should imagine, of debt that Barcelona are in is COVID related. So that's before COVID, the 1.1 billion debts. 140 million is still outstanding from previous transfers, including 40 million due to Liverpool for Coutinho. And how many years ago was that? It's just a joke.
That was pre-decimisation, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I know.
It's still playing when that Coutinho deal was done.
Mad. It really is. It's honestly, if you look into it, listen to maybe a couple of the podcasts that are out there for the Spanish. It's really, really bad what's happening at Barcelona, and it's going to be very interesting to see it unravel. And Football with Brownie did a video about it a couple of weeks ago. Have a look on his YouTube channel. Give it a subscribe whilst you're there, because obviously he's based in Spain. He knows a lot what's going on there as well, and it's a great podcast. Right, Lee, what were your thoughts about the Olympiacos draw when you first heard about it? Were you happy with it, or?
Do you know what? I'm going to say this now. Couldn't care less. I was just so pleased to be in the bleeding draw after Thursday.
Oh, mate,
that was it. The emotions of that game was just incredible. I lost it. I was gone.
Yeah, me too.
Finished with Arteta. I was, I was doing it. The watch along. I had to come off of it because I was going to say something I was going to regret. He was gone. He was fit.
Yeah.
And it weren't just. It wasn't just the result that was going, because before that I was thinking, well, it ain't really his fault. It ain't his fault that Danny Ceballos had a I don't know what he had, a lapse of concentration or whatever.
He shouldn't have been in that position on his own.
No, he shouldn't have been, but he was.
No, it was a poor mistake, but
yeah, he's experienced enough to know not to do that. But anyway, he done it. And it was then, right, let's get Martinelli, let's get Pepe, and on comes
Owen. Oh, mate.
And I'll tell you that, I absolutely lost it from that.
So did I, mate.
I've spoken to a lot of Arsenal fans, people were, turning the telly off. I never see Arsenal getting 2 goals from that game. I couldn't see it happening. And I'll tell you what, I come off down the street and I was watching it downstairs, and when Tierney scored, everybody jumped up. I just sat there. I didn't even go mad because I thought, it don't matter. Okay, it don't matter. Then we're going to go out. We're going out on away goals without even playing away from home. I'd lost it for about 15 minutes. You know what I mean? And then I don't know how you guys felt. I don't know. When we scored, I thought, VAR is going to come in. I just don't know VAR is coming in. Then when they give it, I said, that's it. They went down the other end, and typical Arsenal. They hit the post. I think it was going to be offside and all that, but you should never have ever let them get in that position at the end of the day. You know what I mean? Anyway, from that, I've got to say, afterwards, I was like, what a way to win a game of football. It was fantastic when you won it. You know what I mean? So,
do you know what though? Feeling the emotion was just a great thing, because how many matches have we watched lately that have just been dull as dishwater?
Yeah.
It's nice to have that emotion for once. I was fuming at one point.
I was criticising him. I was criticising him because if we've not, I can't remember last time when we was losing that he'd made some substitutions and won us the game, and all of a sudden he'd done that. We've got the emotions of the game, and I don't care what anybody says. Fantastic to win the game, when I think about it, the Leicester game was such a much better performance in every shape or form. Brilliant, you know what I mean? Casually sitting there enjoying the last 20 minutes. It never looked like we was going to lose the game, but you didn't have that feeling of what you had on the Thursday, like going through all those emotions. But I don't want those emotions again. But, it was a nightmare. So I think at the end of the day, the draw was good for us. I felt that, you know, Olympiacos is one that listen, they only beat us last season. They didn't beat us last season. We beat ourselves. You know what I mean? Like, you know, and I'll be honest, if we'd have lost to Benfica, they never beat us. They wouldn't have. It was us. You know what I mean?
All 3 goals, wasn't it? All 3 goals were us.
So I feel that we've got a good chance of beating them. And the draw's kind just because Man United played AC Milan, so that knocks one of the big boys out. So hopefully, like Man United go through in that one and then get Tottenham in the next round and they knocks them out, and we just go through the back door. I think that's the way we've got to go, boys. If we're gonna get this. But the other thing is, I've got to say this: when was the last time Arsenal went to a top 4 team who was in the top 4 away from home and totally be in the comfort zone? I had my park slippers on up with 20 minutes to go. It was fantastic. You know what I mean? When was the last time that ever happened? So the 2 emotions of 2 games are unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Yeah. No, it was. It really was. It was 2 must-win games, and we won them both, and that says a lot. I think I said about it earlier, Lee, is that the character of the team is a lot better since we got rid of the so-called bad eggs in January. I don't think it's any coincidence, personally, that we're seeing a difference already.
Well, I think you got a little bit lucky with the team in the game against Chelsea at Christmas, and things happened there. And listen, I'm not proud to admit it. I'm not proud to say that. You know, people call me a flip flop, call me whatever you want. Like I'm well and truly on the fence with Arteta. I don't know. One minute I think that, you know, he's the right man for a job. Another time I don't. And I'm totally at this moment in time sitting on the fence with him. I don't really know what way to jump, if you'd be honest. So, but I think there has been a much of improvement since Christmas. I have to say that, you know, there has been but there's still those performances. And I know this sounds silly, and you know what I mean, like I had to sit down when I spoke to Ty about this, because he come up with a logical answer. He said Arsenal play good play really well when the pressure's off, when they're not expected to win. And, you know, like that game against Leicester proved that. But when the expectation's on there and the expectation to win a game, pressure's on, like the Benfica game, that's the performance you get from Arsenal at the moment. And that's got to change, boys. That has got to change. We've got to be able to find a way of playing under pressure.
Yeah, but, I mean, the fact that we won it is just the fact that we won it, scored a goal in the last 2 minutes or 3 minutes. That's a step forward. Because when's the last time we done that? When was the last time we got a last-minute goal? I mean, the last one I can think of was the Sheffield United in the FA Cup last season. When Ceballos got a last-minute goal.
West Ham at home this season.
Eddie got one. Yeah.
It's another one. But I mean, the cup competitions, I just fancy us in cup competitions. I think he's... Anyway, we'll have to wait and see. But I think it's a good draw. I think it's... there's no doubt we're going to learn from last season. I just hope, like you said, Lee, I hope that we don't draw. I just hope we don't draw Tottenham in the next round if we go through. If we're going to get them at all, let's let it be the final. That would be amazing. I think that would be incredible. Tottenham.
No, I'd rather play next round.
Oh, yeah.
No, let's just beat next round. Just beat them. Let's just beat them. Whenever we get them, let's just beat them.
They're rubbish at the moment.
Don't you think it would just be so sweet to beat them in the final? That'd be incredible.
No, my heart wouldn't take that. I'm too old.
Beat them anyway. Beat them. No matter when. As soon as possible. Just get them out of the way.
But I wouldn't be able to take that. Like, get them in a semi-final. Get them. Look, listen. if we get them next round, we get them next round. We've got
Exactly.
we've got to take them on and we've got to beat them, like, you know what I mean? So listen, Arsenal can beat anybody on their day. Let's not get that. Let's get that right.
I heard this question on another podcast, right? And it's a bit of a random one, but what would you prefer, to beat Tottenham next week, or go out against Olympiacos? And if you beat Tottenham, that was it. If you beat Tottenham, we finish above them this season.
Or go through against Olympiacos.
Yeah, with no guarantee of winning the trophy. Just go through against Olympiacos, or beat Tottenham and guarantee to finish above them this
Obviously,
season.
going through against Olympiacos, because we're more important than Tottenham. I don't care about them. I'm not bothered.
exactly.
But what I care about is us progressing this season. And for me, the only way we're going to progress is to carry on in the Europa League. We can lose to Tottenham. I don't care. They can finish above us. I don't care. If we win the Europa League, it won't matter, will it? But if we get knocked out of the Europa League, finishing above Tottenham is going to mean nothing. If we finish 8th and they finish 9th,
Totally agree.
pointless.
Totally agree.
Pointless. Olympiacos all day long for me. They're the two most important games we've got now this season. Until we get through them, hopefully we'll have another two afterwards in the next round. But
Totally agree. Yeah.
Really, those two games now, we need to focus on that. Yes, it'd be lovely to beat Tottenham as well, wouldn't it? Let's get it right. But if we had to choose, obviously Olympiacos all day long.
Yeah, it's no argument at all from me. I just can't believe anyone would go the other way. Really, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, they are an irrelevant team. But it'd just be lovely to.
No, they're not irrelevant. You know what I mean? Like, I want us to come above them. I'm going to be honest. I mean, I've had enough of it. But the fact of the matter is, as Richard says there, the two most important games are Olympiacos, and it's changed now. The bloody dimensions of that game with them not having to go to Croatia like while we're in Greece. I thought that was even. At least that was even. So all of a sudden, they've got the little slight advantage, if I'll be honest, where they've got to. They haven't got to travel where we have. So at the end of the day, look, I think a better question. Let's win the Europa League, and I'll suffer them keeping above us if that's the case. I'll
tell you what. Yeah. Honestly, and this is the way I feel. If we win the Europa League, I think it'd be right up there of one of the best moments. Of the Arsenal. I mean, we've obviously all been through like the Invincibles and all that. We never thought we'd ever see anything like that again. But the situation we're in as a club right this moment to win the Europa League, and bearing in mind it'll be the first European competition we've won since '94, it'll be right up there as an achievement, I think, to actually get back into the Champions League by winning that this year. The way things are going, it'd be fantastic.
I'm 50. I'm not saying how old I'm of a certain age, and I've only seen Arsenal win the European trophy.
Yeah,
in my life,
I think it would be fantastic.
Arsenal Football Club, not good enough.
As it's because it sounds stupid, but when we were the early 2000s, the early part of the Wenger era, we got used to it, and we sort of almost took that for granted how good we were. And we expected to win things, but at the moment, I'm not expecting us to win anything. So, the way I feel right now, if we won the Europa League, it'd be right up there at the top of of achievements in my life supporting Arsenal. I think at the moment, because you were not expecting anything. We're not good enough to win the Premier League or anything like that. So we're not expecting anything, and I just think it'd be amazing. So just anything to win that competition would be great, as far as I'm concerned this season. Bloody hell, need not my drink flying then. Just catch up on some of these comments coming in. Thank you. It's great to see you in the comments, Stan. I haven't had a chat to you for ages. You'll have to come on again soon. Stan the man from Vancouver. Thoughts on the Edouard links? The Worldy podcast said. I've been really confident about him. But I think we've been looking at him for at least 2 years quite closely as a club. I've got slight reservations now, although he scored a lot of goals this season. I watched Celtic, I can't remember who they were playing now, just recently, within the last week or two on telly, and he looks really unfit. He looks massive. He looks like he's put on a load of weight. He didn't look like anywhere near the player that he was last season or the season before. But he's still got a good record.
All of us, Andrew. Don't worry about it. Lockdown's done it to all of us.
If you're a professional footballer, mate, you've got a bit of better standards than me and you and everyone else. But I wasn't that impressed. And I've watched Celtic 3 or 4 times this year. and he's got about 20 odd goals though. So we all know it's a bit of a low standard division, but I wasn't that impressed with him, and I always have been previously. I mean, I think there's a few better players out there at the moment, but I always think our chances of getting him are quite high. And Melvin, what are your thoughts? Have you seen him play, Edouard?
Bits and pieces. His record's very good, but I think you've got to remember where he's playing. I know that Tierney played for Celtic and he's a different class. You know, you can't be a snob and go, well, we're not taking him on from Celtic because
I'm not bothered about that.
At the same time, I don't. It's an unknown. He's an unknown in my opinion, but so's the kid Balogun. He might be Eustace Balogun. I don't know. The story's coming out. People are telling me how wonderful he is. So are we going to get a similar type of player who's a little bit older, who may not fit into the Premiership, where we've got a kid who's come through the ranks? I don't know. Against that, the only thing I got about Balogun, however good he may or may not be, is that we got a kid who hasn't even put an Arsenal shirt in the first team, dictating he wants this and he wants that. It might be him or it might be his agent. What will he want when he gets the first in the team? Will he start wanting more and more and more? So a lot of the kids that come through the Sackers of this world, you can name a load of them. They want to play for the Arsenal. Their big thing is to get into the first team. And it worries me that someone like Balogun, who's come through the ranks, may not have that desire, or because of his agent, to do that. And that's a bit why. Yeah. Otherwise, I'd say give Balogun a chance. What you got to lose?
Yeah. Well, I think I said it last week on the podcast. I think that in the Premier League, Balogun and Aziz should be on the bench each week now, and just getting minutes between now and the end of the season, just so we can help make our mind up on them both come the summer. I mean, I think Aziz 100% we've got to keep, but I think Balogun as well. I mean, he could be a lot better than Edouard, potentially. We don't know yet. But without giving him a chance, even like just 15 minutes here and there at the end of matches, just in the Premier League, in competitive league, I think it'd be well worth it, personally. I mean, have you seen much of Edouard, Richard?
Not a lot, no. Bits and pieces. Like you said, obviously, I know we've been linked with him before, so any player that we link with, I tend to try to watch a bit of if I can, to see whether or not I think that's what we need. I mean, I don't think it necessarily has to be Edouard or Balogun. I don't see any reason why, if we're a serious club about wanting to challenge for things, that we need to have a good squad and keep Balogun and bring in another centre forward, because it looks like Lacazette might be leaving anyway. So we're going to have to look at that position in the team. So I know it's difficult. I mean, I agree. Balogun should be getting minutes in the Premier League now. Certainly from the bench. I wouldn't necessarily start him, but yeah, he needs to be getting minutes. But yeah, I mean, you never know. Any signing's a gamble, isn't it? You don't know how they're going to fit in with your team, with your system, with the league. If they've come from a different league, it is a gamble. And it's like, well, if it's a good price, we can get him for a decent price. He's got a decent goal scoring record, and yes, you could say the league he's playing in is a lower standard, and it is. But a goal scorer is a goal scorer. If you can score goals and you know where the goal is, you can generally, if you're a decent player, you can often step up the standard when you have to. But he has played in the Champions League, of course, as well. So, he has got top level experience. And if the price is right, I would say he's definitely worth us looking at. But we are going to need to buy, I think, a more experienced centre forward. We can't just rely on Balogun and Aubameyang and maybe Martinelli next season. I do think we need somebody else if Lacazette does go. And he would be a good option, I think. But there's the other players out there as well. I would personally look more in the Premier League already. There's a few teams that may be going down that might have a striker here and there that we can get maybe a little bit cheaper. Teams that are struggling possibly, or Championship, top of the Championship. There's a guy at Brentford, isn't there, that's catching everybody's eye.
Yeah. I think he scored tonight, didn't he? I think he got a world tonight. So, why can't we maybe look at someone like that as an alternative? Because look at what what's his name, Watkins has done at Aston Villa. He's come up there and scored goals, and there's no reason why we can't do something similar like that as well. So we need to buy a centre forward. Is it going to be Edouard? I don't know, but let's look at what he's going to cost and how much wages he wants and everything else, and see what deal we can get done.
Yeah, that Tony looks good. I mean, I listened to the Totally Football League show with Arsenal's own Adrian Clark on it. I listen to that every week, and last season he was at Peterborough and banging him in at Peterborough and looking really, really good, and they were singing his praises week in, week out on there. And then when he went to obviously where he is now at Brentford, going to be a step up for him, but he's just taken to it like a duck to water. He looks like a real player, personally.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
So
he does, yeah.
there's a guy. What was it? Comment was put in. Sorry, just scroll back up a second. Said football with Brownlee. Said Kiefer Moore from Cardiff is better than Edouard of Celtic.
He would say that, wouldn't he?
Yeah, I'm not sure about that, but maybe. I'm not knocking him. Yeah, I've been, and Stan said he's been really keen on Edouard for some time. I have, Stan, as well. But I just, I've been worried about this season. He looks like he's put on too much weight. He looks massive. He's been down KFC every night, by the looks of it. But we'll have to see how it goes. Also, Shane Curtin said, sell Eddie and Lacquer, buy Edouard from Celtic and loan Balogun back to them for a season. That's actually a good idea. That's actually quite a good
I think Balogun. I've heard that Balogun is now signed for someone now, or something.
Frankfurt, something when it ain't Frankfurt or something. The rumour was.
Yeah, I don't know.
Apparently not. Apparently he's there's again same video I mentioned earlier. Charles Watts' video on YouTube said today that it's looking again more likely that he's going to stay. He hasn't signed anywhere. This is coming from Arteta. He hasn't signed anywhere, he says, and he keeps speaking to him every day, and the conversation never changes that he wants to stay at Arsenal. So I think he'll do.
The signs aren't telling you that, are they? The signs
they're also not telling you that he's leaving, because why wouldn't have a club?
He's not getting in the team. How can he not get in the bench? He's not been. He must have been able to get on the bench. Why has he not got on the bench? We've had Arteta had ample opportunities to come on the bench. It's like an Ozil Mark II, if you like. So all this about he's definitely going to sign and all that. It smells to me. I don't think.
This is all the thing that makes me. This is the problem I've got with Arteta, right? Like,
man management
exactly. And looking after the squad and treating players like. I get worried. I get worried when Martinelli doesn't come on. You know, like you said, Lee, when he brought on Willian against Benfica, I literally shouted, and my son's run down from upstairs thinking, "What's going on?" And I said, "Willian's come on," and ahead of Martinelli when we needed a goal. And I'm thinking, what must Martinelli be thinking that Willian's got on ahead of him again when we need a goal?
I agree, but
it turned out right. Obviously,
that's the right decision. You can't
exactly, but
you can't say nothing, and that's the fit. Martinelli didn't play Sunday. Willian did, and Willian was brilliant. It's just
exactly.
What I find very strange, I don't know if you guys feel the same, is that Eddie was linked with moves away in January, a year left of his contract. They didn't accept anything, and since then, he hasn't even been in the squad. So what's the point of keeping? Merlin's got the money. So realistically, say if he was worth 15 million in January, he'd be worth 10 million.
Yeah,
the summer. And I just don't understand.
It's these things that worry me.
Policies.
These things worry me about Arteta. And if you want to keep Balogun,
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you put Balogun on the bench?
It
doesn't make sense. And we wasted Maitland-Niles' first part of the season. Completely wasted it. Those several months. So those are the things that make me a bit worried about him. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what happens. We're going down. I've just got a couple more comments that I want to sort of read out as well. Me and Richard just quickly before we went live. I was reading a story on Arse blog about all the amount of young central defenders we've got out on loan at the moment. Not just Saliba, Mavropanos, but McGuinness, Ballard, and a couple of others as well who are getting on really, really well. And it says we've got some really good young centre halves. This is the Worldy podcast, like Saliba, Mavropanos, Omar Rekic, who we brought in from Hertha Berlin in January. Will be some good competition in a few years. We have got so many more that we have got to sort out, really. We've got the guy, Denze, that we brought in from Tottenham as well. But the one I'm interested in is not only, apart from Saliba, I'm really keen on him coming back into the club, but is McGuinness. And we had a little glimpse of him against MK Dons when we come back from the lockdown last year. But his attitude, he's getting rave reviews, playing really, really well. And his attitude, he said, I want to come back into Arsenal and I want to have the same kind of impact in defence as Saka has had, as the forward players and Smith Rowe. I've been inspired by them, blah, blah, blah. I really want to make an effort to come back in. But he actually looks like a proper beast and a really good player. So we've got an awful lot of work to do in the summer. You know, what to do with all these defenders and who to keep. Because Mavropanos has been getting rave reviews over in Germany.
I read something about him today, doing well.
Yeah, he is. So we've got an awful lot of work to do in the summer to work out what we're going to be, who we're going to hold on to. Right? It makes you think, why the hell did we bring in that Omar Rekik and pay money for him when we've got these players coming through? But we've obviously seen something in him. But he can't even get into the under-23 team, that kid. I don't think he's made his actual debut for them yet, for the under-23. So it's a bit of an odd one, really. And Balogun has signed a pre-contract with RB Leipzig, I heard. Not according to Arteta today. I mean, it was updated today. I mean, all I'm saying is Charles Watts put it on his YouTube channel today that he spoke to Arteta today about him, and he hasn't signed anything with anyone at the moment.
Would he admit it if he had, though? If it was true, would Arteta admit it? No way.
He'd have to, wouldn't he? I mean,
no, he wouldn't have to. Why would he have to?
Well, he wouldn't lie about it, though, would he? If he's asked a straight question, I don't think so.
Oh, there we go.
You wouldn't say that he wants him to. He's confident he's going to stay if he's already signed with someone else. Surely, he wouldn't be that stupid. He'd make himself look.
Yeah, but it keeps the fans on his side, doesn't it? Because if we was to sell Balogun, it comes out that we've sold Balogun, or he's signed a pre-contract thing. It's going to turn a lot of fans, because a lot of people feel that he's the future of the club and we should keep him. And if obviously Arteta sold him, at least if it gets to the end of the season, and maybe if we finish the season well and stuff like that, it may be a better time to announce that then, and there's less pressure on the situation. Maybe, I don't know, but I won't be surprised if. We don't know if it has or it hasn't, but just because Arteta says it hasn't, to me, doesn't mean it hasn't. That's all I'm saying.
Because he ended up with an awful lot of egg on his face.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll have to see what happens, but that was what was reported today anyway, that he hasn't signed anywhere with anyone.
I hope that's true, but we'll wait and see.
But Shane's put, I'm worried Martinelli will hand in a transfer request in the summer. If he does, he's easier to bench than Willian in Arteta's eyes, and that'd be a bit of a nightmare, wouldn't it? That's what I'm worried about, if I'm honest. That he's going to get pissed off, but I don't think he will. But he's got to get some kind of action.
He's still young, but I think he'll want more opportunities next year, without a shadow of a doubt. And, as I say, I think he should be getting more opportunities now. Really, it'd be interesting to see if he plays against Burnley. Be very interesting.
It will. It's going to be. What do you think? We talked about that before he came on, Lee.
Richard, I can't see him starting another game this season, really, unless one of those guys gets injured.
Or I don't know. I mean, if we're still in the Europa League, some of those league games at the end of the season, he's going to rotate the squad a lot, isn't he? So maybe he might get a chance then, maybe. But I think if we get knocked out of Europe, then I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about the? Because we had that discussion just before you joined, Lee, about the Burnley game, because he has got a real decision who to play with this one, hasn't he? Because we've had a 6-day gap. ESR, thankfully, is not too serious at all, his injury. He's only going to be out for one game, apparently. So he's not going to play. We know that for a fact. But what would you do in his position? Because
I'd keep the same team that played against Leicester. Maybe just rest Xhaka for that. I think, listen, we're going into a really crucial part of the season. Why not have Saka resting for 10 days? He's still training. It's not like he's not playing. You know what I mean? Aubameyang's still training. Just keep him fresh for as long. We're in a fortunate position that we've got a 2-week break, or not a 2-week break, but a 10-day sort of break between games. Man United are playing tonight. They've got Europa League games. Tottenham playing tomorrow. Still got Europa League games. We've had a nice little rest here, so we could use this to our advantage and get some energy back into the legs. I wouldn't play Saka in this game. I wouldn't play Aubameyang in this game. I'd rest Saka. But the good thing about it is that they was absolutely superb on Sunday. So go again and do it. And I think that also Pablo Mari has really pushed himself into a chance to be involved in those Europa League games. It's funny how things have changed, because all of a sudden it was like, I want to play in the Premier League and then not Europa. Now it's changed. Everybody wants to do I think that I think Thomas Partey, I wouldn't rush him back neither. I would maybe, instead of giving him 20 minutes, give him sort of 30 minutes this time, and then keep training him and make sure that he's 100% ready for the Olympiacos game. So that's what I would do. Rest your big guns, keep them going. I reckon that maybe Bellerin will come back at right back. I could see Cedric played really well by the other way, so I could see Arteta using his brain and thinking, right, I'll put Cedric out to left back this game, giving Tierney a little bit of a break, and then gets his favourite back in that way, doesn't he? So that's what I would do anyway,
Yeah, I agree. I would play personally if it was my decision. I'd play Martinelli against Burnley. I think he's an ideal player against Burnley. Personally, he can take that bit of. He's a battler. He's not like, he don't take pushing around, does he, Martinelli? Even though he's only 19, he's got a bit about him. I think he'll be a good to go up against their defence. Shane's put, I'd like to see Partey and Ceballos together on Saturday. I'm desperate to see that pairing, but I'd rather see them against someone other than Burnley away, personally. I agree with you, actually. I think I'd ease Partey back in a little bit against them, play half an hour or so. Or maybe even play him for the first 50, 60 minutes and take him off then. Get the game won, maybe. I don't know. But I wouldn't play him for the whole match against Burnley. Risk it, to be honest. And he's asked about Ben Cottrell, the Worldy podcast, as well. I like Ben Cottrell, but I think I don't know whether personally, I don't know if he's going to make it. He's been in the under-23s for quite a long time now. He's really talented, but I don't know if he's quite talented enough. And he's very, very slight of build. He's very small. I think he'd be a good player for someone. I don't think he's going to make it as an Arsenal player personally, but I do like the kid. And he's asked, will the Cronkies sell the club to, I don't know how to pronounce that geezer's name, the Nigerian guy, Dangote.
Yeah.
I think there's more chance of...
Ain't going to happen.
My piss freezing in hell, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
The Worldy podcast.
That's not going to happen. No way.
No, I don't think so either. I'm not even an Arsenal fan, football with Brown, he says, but as a football fan, I'd love to see Partey and West Ham Souček as a midfield pairing. That's an option, certainly. I'd like to see that Douglas Luiz. I think he'd be a really good player, Douglas Luiz from Aston Villa. He's really young as well. He's got a lot of years on his side, personally. But I think
one Luiz is enough, innit? Really, Andrew?
We won't have the other one for too much longer. Although I think we will get another year, don't you?
Actually, that's unfair.
I think he'll get another year, and then possibly join the coaching staff afterwards, which I'll be quite up for, if I'm honest. I don't think if you can have a backup right, a centre half, he can't do much worse than David Luiz, really, can he? He's a decent, on his day, he's still a good player, and I think he's a really good. I think he'd be an excellent coach, personally. I really do. I wouldn't be surprised actually if he'd be the one to take over from Arteta in a few years' time.
I think there's more chance in going abroad and being a coach, going to Benfica,
possibly, yeah.
But in Arsenal, in all fairness.
I think he's going to be a really good coach. Something just tells me that he will. He's a good guy in front of the cameras, certainly. Anyway, I think we'll leave it there for today. Unless anyone's got anything else that they want to just quickly talk about. Have you got anything coming up that you want to talk about, Richard, on your channel as well?
Well, I have, but there was just a little stat actually that I was looking at yesterday, which sort of surprised me, and also I thought might be an interesting little topic for 5 minutes to discuss.
Okay, cool. Yeah, go for it.
The first 15 matches last season after Christmas, which actually turned out to be Arteta's first 15 games, that was before lockdown, right? We won 8, drew 5 and lost 2, scored 23 goals and conceded 12. the first 15 games this year after Christmas, which is up until the Benfica game, not Leicester, won 8, drew 3, lost 4, scored 25 and let in 12. Very, very similar records. Now, Arteta's now been here a year. Technically, he's got a better squad to choose from, and the results haven't really improved. Now, we're saying about progress, and in certain areas there's been progress, but in those 2 sets of fixtures over the same period of the season, despite a year, Arteta's been a year longer with better players, the results haven't really improved over that same period of time, which I thought was quite strange, actually. I wasn't expecting to see that when I looked at it. And I looked at it and I thought, it's almost exactly the same set of results. The only difference is this time we got through Europa League. Last year we got knocked out, but last year we got through the FA Cup, and this year we got knocked out of that. So it's very, very similar in the league as well.
Yeah, but if you take those same amount of games and put Liverpool there instead, they'd be second bottom.
No, they probably would. We can't compare.
I don't think you. I honestly don't think.
Ourselves, can't we? Really?
No, I know, but this season I don't think you can compare it with anything. It's just so weird and. I mean, I don't know. My opinion is, you just have to go by your eye test, don't you, rather than stats sometimes, and what that's telling you in your brain. And I could certainly see a difference in mentality that was discussed earlier. I could see a better form, the way we're playing up front. We couldn't create a chance last season. If you remember, we weren't creating anything, and we are creating more chances now. We're better to watch, and I think our mentality is a lot better. And we've got a lot of work done in January, getting rid of players, much more than I thought we would. So this summer, there's still a hell of a lot to do. But
the point is, I agree with all that, but the point is results haven't improved.
I know. And this season has just been mental, though, isn't it? We've seen some incredibly
Aston Villa have improved.
Results are just mad for everyone. I don't know. I'll pass it over to Melvin and Lee. Personally, I don't. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, it's great. This is what I'm saying about being on the fence with Mikel. Like, I mean, when Richard puts that to you, see. This is the thing with Arsenal fans at the moment, isn't it? Like, I mean, everybody says it's a results business, and then when you look at it, we're sort of brushing over the results, if you know what I mean, and sort of like saying, "Oh, it's about improvement and whatever." But there comes a time when those results have got to improve. Now, when does that time come? Do you know what I mean? Like, and this is why I feel that I am sitting on the fence at the moment, because. Why Richard's right that you do see Richard right. You do see that there's improvement in the team. Then there are things that worry me as well, So and when I watch Arsenal at the minute, you get a performance like did at Leicester, but there's always a performance like Aston Villa around the corner or a Burnley. Do you know what I mean? Which has got to be eradicated from the game, and that's why you're getting those results that Richard's saying on that thing there of defeats. When Arsenal were a good side, I was talking about this earlier on under Arsene Wenger. Arsenal fans would never have put up with 11 defeats in a season under Arsene Wenger. It just wouldn't be there. You know what I mean? But all of a sudden we're accepting that now, and we're saying that's fine to let that go. And so it's a fine line, isn't it? When it's like, so all right,
they were holding up banners though. Don't forget, Lee, about finishing fourth. Oh God, another fourth finish.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Like,
we weren't happy with that either.
But what are you going to do? Like, wait until the summer? And then, like, Arsenal lose 2 games out of 3 in the first 3 games, and then we're all going to, right, that's it, he's got to go, and we're going to chuck the process away again. When is the line when you're going to go, right, this is where we're going to now start being a little bit more, what's the word?
Mature about it.
Yeah, as a fan base should be, because I do think, and I don't understand it, and I'm one of them, I can't explain it myself. We seem to be giving Mikel Arteta all the time and all the grace. We never give that to Emery.
No.
I didn't, but here I am still. I sort of jumped off the fence a lot quicker with Emery than I have done with Arteta, and I can't explain why.
I think it's because we know where he wants to take us. We've got a path where Emery never gave us that path. We could never envisage that, could we?
Yeah, thing is though, Andrew, it's not just that. You've got to remember that he didn't speak English very well, whereas Arteta is very eloquent, very intelligent, and he comes across, I'm not saying he is one, as a good politician. Listen to what I'm saying, I'm with you, everything's fine, believe in me. Where the previous manager couldn't do that because he couldn't, speak English very well. So therefore, there's no communication. I think that's one of the reasons that it's gone like that, and why we accept it. And it's very sad. I think that given the summer transfer, that is where I draw my line. Because he can't have the excuse now, Arteta, after this summer, that it's not my squad. I didn't want those players. I haven't got the players I wanted. He had, by next August when we kick off, I expect him and Edu to get the players they want without any excuse. And therefore, we should be, next season is by not the first 2 games, because we lost 2 games with the last guys, and then we had a great run. But give it to Christmas and then go, you know what, this ain't happening. You've had every chance now. You've had the players you want. We've given you a lot of room here. Perhaps it's what you do rather than, we should be looking at what you do rather than what you say. Yeah. Because I'm like Lee, really. I want him to do well. Of course I want him to do well. But there's certain things that make me feel a little bit negative about him. And he proved me wrong the other day against Leicester, because I was pulling my hair, what's left out of it out when I saw the team. I thought, oh, here we go again. And after 5 minutes, I was going mad. I thought, no. Why is it always us? But he proved us wrong, and I was very happy, as I said, very happy for him to prove us wrong. But he hasn't happened enough for me. I want him to prove me wrong more.
I think I'm exactly in the same place as you, to be honest, because I'm not. I can virtually guarantee I wasn't alone when he made that substitution against Benfica, put Willian on. I thought, do you know, the first thing that came to mind was Graham Taylor substituting Gary Lineker, and the backlash that caused.
I'm going to be honest. I'll hold my hand up now. I'm still on the fence now, but I'm telling you that now. If we'd have lost that game on Thursday,
me too. I know what you're going to say. Me too.
I'll change it around. If you would have brought on Martinelli and Pepe and lost that game, I think I would have still backed him.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. Do you know what I mean? I thought I would have said, it weren't his fault. But I would have tried to make an excuse. I don't know why. I'm just thinking of that.
No, I agree.
The other way,
totally.
If we'd have lost that game with the substitutions as a mate, there was no way back from it. I was off the fence. And that
decision was made. Yeah,
decision was
made.
Too.
Whether that's right, whether that's wrong. I actually said that on my channel at the time during the game, that with that substitution, if we get knocked out, he's got to go now at the end of this game, let alone waiting anything else.
No, 100%, Richard. I'm with you. He was gone. Yeah. He's gone. You know what I mean?
I said that. I said that to my kids. I said, if we lose this match now, I don't want.
It would have been 100% on him, definitely.
Yeah.
If he got knocked out and he got away with it, and maybe you could say it was genius, but either way, it worked, and that's the most important thing, I guess. But he's on the brink though, isn't he? Because that's how close it was to. I think most fans turning against him.
Yeah,
and that's how close he was. 2.5 minutes away from everybody turning, and we're only maybe 1 or 2 bad performances coming up in the next few weeks of the same thing happening again. Because, we've still got these Europa League games. We've got the North London derby. If we don't win any of them next 3 games, well, apart from Burnley, if we don't win any of those 3 games after that, and he's playing Willian and he's playing Pepe and he's not maybe using the squad properly, then it's going to be the same again, isn't it? The same.
100%.
Yeah.
100%.
And unfortunately, this is where we are. I think most of us are on the fence with it at the moment, and it's going to tip either way. And I'm not letting one good performance against Leicester make me think, Arteta's the man.
No, that's exactly what I'm saying on the fence.
Too many people have done that this week, I think.
Yeah.
I've seen so much stuff on Twitter. Look at how we played against Leicester. Yeah, we did, but unless we start doing it on a regular basis, it's not good enough. Just doing it once,
no, 100%.
100%. And we haven't done it consistently enough for the last 18 months Arteta's been in charge, or a year, whatever it is. We've not done it consistently enough. We haven't.
No. And that's why we're 10th, Rich. That's why we're 10th.
Exactly. That's why we're 8th last season. Yeah, exactly.
And that ain't good enough. But it ain't good enough. You know what I mean? People turn around to me and say, "What?" and this is why I'm saying why you people will say to me, why are you still on the fence? You know, this is they're 10th in the league. It's not good enough for Arsenal. He's underachieving. I go, I agree, but
what about Villa? Last season, they should be in the Championship this season, right?
Yeah.
And Dean Smith hasn't been in charge of them much longer than Arteta. But look at what he's done this season. Why can't we do that? We've got a better squad than them.
The goalkeeper though, didn't he? That's why.
But why are we? I'm backing you up, basically, Lee. I'm thinking, why are we giving him so much time when we're being shown week in, week out by Dean Smith, for example, that we could quite easily be right up there challenging for fourth. Yeah, West Ham. Yeah, West Ham, another one.
Yeah.
Why are we putting up with it? Why are we putting up with being 10th under Arteta? That is a good question, really, because when you see teams like West Ham and Villa,
because Villa are not in the Europa League, Andrew. Villa are not in the Europa League. West Ham are not in the Europa League. We're still in the Europa League. We've still got a chance of getting what we want. Now, I don't care. Now, you can say if Arsenal win the Europa League and come 15th, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because we've got the trophy we want and we're in the champ until. So he's got that as a backup at the moment, you know. And also I do think, and you might think I'm stupid here, that FA Cup win last season and the manner of it, people still, and I do think, well, you know, if we can get back to that, there's a chance. And I do think that, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that he should be kept on with that. There was performances last season that I see. We beat Liverpool, we beat Chelsea, we beat Man City. You know, in a space of five weeks or whatever. Like you can't that. So there's the potential's there. So the carrot's been dangled, and we're still nibbling at it at the moment. Like, you know what I mean? Like, but it could all go. As Richard made a great point there. You know what I mean? We could be all having a meltdown in a week's time. You know what I mean? Because we haven't beaten Olympiacos and we lost to Spurs. That could be the thing. I see people in the chat saying that if it, you know, and I don't blame them. If we'd have lost that game, fans would have turned. That's how thin line it is.
Can you imagine? If all the fans, we hadn't had the lockdown and all the fans were there every week? I think it would have a totally different situation on our hands. Personally,
it could have been gone in December.
I don't think Arteta would have survived Christmas if there was fans.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been gone in December.
Losing 4 home games in a row in the manner that we did. I don't think he would have survived that.
He's very fortunate. I don't think so. Very fortunate to survive. No other club. No, I see Cardiff had 60 feet. So around about the same time as us, Cardiff had about the same sort of run as us. Sacked their manager.
Yeah.
Brought in McCarthy now, 10 games unbeaten. We for whatever reason, you know, guys, I will say this: Chelsea were on the same points as us when they sacked Lampard. Same point. Yeah. Look where they are now, where we are. So, you know, he's a very, very, very fortunate manager. So he needs to repay the faith that the club has put in him.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. We'll leave it at that point. And because we're going to wrap up. And there's one other question which we can finish on as we say our goodbyes. Worldy Podcast put just a random question. Favourite Arsenal shirt of all time? I'd just be quite interested. Ooh. I'll go to you first, Melvin, on this one. Go round in a clockwise direction to finish off and we can say our goodbyes. What's your favourite Arsenal shirt of all time?
Strangely enough, it was the 1971 away kit.
Yeah.
Yellow. When we first got into yellow and blue, that was the first season we had it. It was a fantastic kit. Really did. That was my little favourite one.
I don't think we should deviate from home and away, being yellow and blue and red and white. I just think that should be our season in, season out colours, personally. What about you, Rich?
Basically, I can visualise all those players, you know, with the George Grahams and the Geordie Armstrongs and all that, and the Radfords. I can visualise them in that shirt, you know, just like very nostalgic for me. And
it's a beautiful shirt.
I loved it.
Yeah, I agree. And in a similar way, I love the England shirts from '82. that Graham Rix, funnily enough, wore at the
That
World
was a
Cup,
great shirt,
where they were exactly the same shirts but different
Red
colours,
one
but the
as well,
same patterns.
I like
Beautiful,
the red
best,
one as well,
Yeah.
best England shirts of all time.
Yeah.
Richard, what about you?
Do you know what? I probably think maybe for the iconic status of it would probably be the yellow shirt we wore at Anfield '89, the Mickey Thomas kind of kit, that one we wore that night, just because of what that season meant, I suppose. The first time we'd won the league in my lifetime that I can remember, and I think that one probably. But I did quite like that green and blue away kit we had in '98.
Are you taking the piss? Seriously?
No, I'm not. I got that bought for me for Christmas that year when it was out. I was about 15, 14, whatever it was. And I used to love that kit. I like the material of it as well. So, yeah, that would probably be my second favourite.
Oh, well. Fair enough. Each to their own. But it looked like a fucking goalkeeper's kit. Didn't it, really?
I liked it, though, anyway. I did like it. But anyway, there you go. I might actually buy it because I've seen it. You can get it in the retro shop now.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah.
It's a nice shop,
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so
what about you, Lee? What's your favourite kit of all time?
I think that it was why the reason that I fell in love with Arsenal was probably in the mid-70s, the red and white kit, just plain red and white, and the FA Cup yellow and blue with the big cannon on the chest. I think I think it was in the '78 one. I think. I thought that was the reason. One of the reasons that I chose Arsenal over Spurs was the kit. So I would go with that. But I also think was a big kit for me was probably 1983-84 when Charlie Nicholas signed the Umbra. Arsenal kit as well, like So
that was a lovely kit.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I think my one. I've got a controversial one. I mean, I love just the bog standard red and white, like you, Melvin, as well, and the home and away, the yellow and blue with just the cannon, the simple cannon. Love that. But I also got a real soft spot, which I've got upstairs. Is the red currant one, the special one we had in the last season of Highbury.
I
do,
Richard as well.
Honestly,
for the
I've got a thing about it. Honestly, I've got to think about it. Whether it's because it was the last season of
Highbury one. That's because of that.
I think that was it. I think that's the thing. Not the kit itself, just what it means. Really,
cover never comes out. But I know what you're saying. But that was a money grabbing.
Of course it was. Of course it was. But I just, mate.
You had to get one, didn't you? You had to get one.
Yeah.
I will never get over leaving Highbury. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care how successful we become.
I've got the yellow one. I've got the yellow one from that season as well, but we wore it in the Champions League.
That was a good shirt.
I can't get it out of the cupboard now. I can't look at it. It just makes me feel ill just looking at that kit because I know. I just can't be looking at it.
I will always regret leaving Highbury. I miss Highbury so much. I love that stadium. It was the most beautiful stadium in the world as far as I was concerned. Absolutely loved it.
Of course it was.
It just it was hard. Yeah, I know it was a money grabbing exercise and blah blah blah. But I don't know what it was, just because it was a special season. Well, was it a special season? It was probably the saddest season I've ever had. Really, leaving Highbury. To be honest,
I don't know if anyone's ever said this, but if we never left Highbury, we wouldn't have got this owner. It'd be a double, wouldn't it? That'd have been a good thing.
I think it would be more exciting.
Hindsight's a wonderful thing because at the end of the day, I was looking forward to go to the Emirates. I'll be honest.
Well, yeah, we were. I was as well. Be honest with you, I was. Yeah.
I never have. I never did. I can put my hands up and say I never did. I never looked forward to it because I didn't think it was the right thing to do, and I still don't know whether it was the right thing to do. I reckon we'd have more trophies in the cabinet now if we hadn't left Highbury. Yes, we wouldn't make so much money every game, but we wouldn't have had all the debt over the last 15 years. We wouldn't have had to penny pinch on signings over the last 25 years.
Do you think we'd be able to have competed in the top four for as long as we did with the 38,000 capacity stadium? I don't think we would have. I don't think we would have.
I think it balances itself out with the amount of debt we've had and the amount of money we could have spent but we didn't versus the money that we would have continually just generated by being at Highbury. I think it would have been pretty even, to be perfectly honest.
It's a different game now with Man City and Chelsea and clubs like that. No matter how big your stadium is, we wouldn't have been able to compete unless we had very changed.
The goalposts changed, didn't they? Like,
exactly.
Yeah,
it's I think it swings them round, but they don't get massive crowds every week, do they? Up at the Man City.
No, but they win the league every year.
Exactly.
They don't
exactly.
need to.
That's because their money. That's their money. Yeah, exactly.
We was never going to go down that route, was we? We were
No.
never going to become a Man City. So the only option we had was to get a bigger stadium and hope that eventually, when the debt was paid off and this, that, and the other, that we'd be able to recapture former glories. And unfortunately, we're still waiting. But it's history's a long time, isn't it? So let's hope we can build some good memories eventually here. It might just going to take a bit longer, isn't it? That's all.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Anyway, we've all got our preferences, haven't we? And that's what makes it interesting to talk about, because it'd be boring if we were all the same, as we said before. So, yeah. Anyway, and thanks to everyone in the chat. Shane, been great. Worldy podcast. James Johnson's joined us. The yellow away kit was lovely. Agrees with you, Richard. So it was nice. Good memories of Henry away at Madrid. And thanks for the nice comment there. Worldy podcast. Discovered Arsenal channels on YouTube, and all of them are really good. Brilliant show, guys, and I'll be back again. Thank you ever so much. And Football with Brownie and everyone else, Stan the Man, everyone that's been watching, thank you very much. Thank you for joining us, Lee. Really appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
And we'll see you again hopefully in a couple of weeks' time.
No worries, enjoyed it.
Couple of weeks' time, hopefully have Graham Rix back on, and you can be more than welcome back on then. Same with you, Richard.
Look forward to it.
Thank you. And to Richard, over and over and over again podcast, go over there and give it a subscribe as well. Great stuff on there. And once again, I'm going to do it publicly. Apologise for not turning up on your show the other week. And it was a purely, I've explained, mistake. Do apologise for that, Richard. And if you'll have me back, I'll be grateful to come back on at some point.
No, of course,
Melvin.
of course. Definitely.
Melvin, thank you for coming back on again.
I really enjoyed doing this. Thanks, boys. Thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, very welcome. Very welcome. So please, everyone, give us a like before you leave, and give us a subscribe if you haven't done so already. And we'll look forward to seeing you all next week. Take care, all. Up the Arsenal.
Come on, you guys.
Come on.